Hey there, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans. Welcome to another episode of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight, we are talking about the season finale, Season 4, Episode 22, The World's End. Guys, there's so much stuff to talk about, and we got some great news at the end of the show, too. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I can't believe it's over. Oh my gosh. Like, after all of that, we've been through so many different pods, and yet I still can't believe the season's done.
Yeah, it happened real quick.
Yeah, but here's the great part, and we're going to discuss this more at the back of the show. It's not done!
It's not the end!
Season 5.
Season 5!
Season 5.
I don't think season 5 is gonna happen. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Anything is
see what happens.
possible. I mean, literally anything is possible, especially when space is the limit.
I mean, they did end this episode with a very, they closed the story, no open-ended questions.
No,
was done.
I
don't feel
everything has been-
dangling.
Everything has been answered. I
was
have
the
no
worst
lingering
cliffhanger ever.
thoughts
Yeah,
or
it's done.
issues.
Certainly
Hey guys,
no
welcome
teasers
to
that had
AfterBuzz
no
TV.
payoff.
I got closure. You guys, no closure.
That's because the love of your life is gone.
I
The
don't
whole
think.
chat.
I think the show is now. It's just pointless.
The whole
Anyway.
chat is just saying, Jesse, no, quit fondling the book. Don't fondle the Darkhold.
Guys, it told me deep secrets, but I'll use it for good, I
We're
swear.
just gonna have to toss this
No, leave it here.
over
No,
into
leave it
the
here.
dark dimension
Hold
to
on.
make sure that it never falls into the wrong hands.
I'm the only one that can carry it
That's
into the other
very
dimension.
true. Before we take,
Oh, it got so cold.
Let me see it real quick.
Ghost Rider, Jack.
Let me read it real quick.
Before Ghost Rider takes the Darkhold away to another dimension for safekeeping, let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel as we break down the season finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. To my left, Jesse Klein.
Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Jesse Klein. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1.
To his left, Tehran.
I am heartbroken.
Oh, no.
Find him at I am heartbroken.
The love
That's a
of my
great
life is no more. Life has no meaning. They've taken the Darkhold away from me. This is just the worst
Here, we can
night
put
of
Back
my
on the
life.
table.
Thank you.
Don't give it back. and
He's
that-
gonna
And
bring
I am Tehran all across the social.
And to
Media.
his left,
Hey,
Robbie
guys.
Reyes.
No. However, I am wearing my Ghost Rider jacket again
It is
because
so
Robbie's
cool.
back. Hey guys, Zach Wilson here. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at that Zach Wilson. And find me here nerding out on this epic finale.
Yep, and I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. We're going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTVMarvel on Twitter. Zach's got you guys
I got
covered
you guys
on
in
the
the chat,
live
and I do want to address it up top.
Yes.
The fan fiction that we promised you guys, there's too much to cover in this episode, and the studio shuts off at midnight. The
Yes.
lights will just go dark. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a standalone special sometime within the next week of just the fan fiction that you guys can download and listen to on your time.
and play on repeat.
I'm sorry
And
if
love
you
and
guys were looking
enjoy.
forward to it tonight, but we want to make sure we have enough time to dig into the giant list of
Yes.
topics that Megan has written on the
Literally,
board.
I ran out of room, and maybe that's just because I started writing in capital letters and curse words and ellipses, and then more capital letters and more curse words. So yes.
So yeah, we
let's
couldn't
not-
Is
spare.
that Robbie Reyes' his middle name?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Canonically speaking, that is his middle
Robbie
name.
F. Reyes.
Robbie effing Reyes.
But yeah,
Okay.
so we couldn't spare the 10 minutes that it would take
apologize,
to do it
but
justice.
We apologize, guys. We want to do it right for you, especially because you guys are the reason we are here and why we continue to be able to do this show.
And yes, EV Party 97, it will be considered after dark.
Yeah.
Yes, please tune in for AfterBuzz After Dark when we bring you that special. We will be sending you guys more details when we schedule official time.
Ernie 3K, Shield After Dark, hold.
Good one. That's
I
a good one.
mean,
You guys are
Do
doing
we know
great.
what day we're gonna do this? Is it gonna be
Well,
on our
we
We
regular?
have to work it out with
We have to
scheduling.
Okay,
work it
because
out with
I'm
scheduling.
busy. So, just letting you know,
whatever day it is, I'm just
Is it?
booked.
All right,
I'm just booked.
Oh, was it gonna be Friday? What do you guys? I'm busy.
Well,
Sorry.
let's
Tehran,
not waste any more time.
I will write that Ada slowly removes a bathrobe from someone.
I
just to
will
let
be
you
here.
know.
I
Just
will
to let
be
you know.
here. Why did say that
Yes,
first?
All right.
Actually,
Say that
We're not
first.
doing the fan fiction. Don't have time,
We
guys.
don't have time. Guys, let's not waste any more time since clearly we don't have time to do the thing that we promised everyone. Let's get right down to it. Robbie freaking Reyes is back and it makes my heart sing and I am so happy. Like again, we've said this before, I wish you guys could see certain reactions that we get during these episodes. There was certainly a moment with Ada that I wish you guys could have seen the looks on all our faces.
Yeah.
But every time Robbie Reyes was on screen, I just looked like the biggest doof in the world with my stupid grin because every time he's on screen, I am just happy as a clam.
We must look really silly to the people walking around because I'm like, oh, very interesting, Robbie Reyes, and Megan's like, "Ee!" and like just like holding her pen
Spot on
like a
impression.
sword.
Meanwhile,
Like,
I'm over to the left, just like thoughtfully stroking my beard, like, huh.
yeah.
They have much more
Interesting.
dignified reactions.
And I was
than
crying over the
You were
death.
still.
He's weeping. He's weeping. So, guys, Robbie Reyes, Zach, last week you said you wanted a concrete narrative reason for Robbie Reyes' return. What did we all think of the justification for him coming back?
It was acceptable.
It was fine.
Yeah, it's not as great as I like. Look, when you have something like as big as a character coming back from like where like you put him in another dimension that he couldn't possibly escape from, there needs to be a good reason, and this technically works. So, in case you got anybody blinked and missed it, their explanation was that Ada was built with pieces from with
Darkhold
dark
magic.
energy like via the Darkhold, and so her creation opened up a rift that allowed him to come through.
Specifically, she's made from the stuff, like the material that dimension is made out of. Like he
Yes.
said, like the reason why he can burn her like he does is because she's made out of this dimension that he was in.
Yeah.
And I think they're being really ambiguous with where he goes, so they can just say like, and she was made, so it made a big tear.
Literally,
and I
he says
walked through.
hell is relative.
Yeah.
And he makes it sound more
I think he said
interdimensional.
hell is a relative, and he's talking about his mother-in-law. Folks, don't listen to me.
Yeah. No. That
They're there.
there's yeah. Like the possibilities of like where he could be and like will we get to go back there with him, see where he was before, like they're very they could
open-ended.
easily
Yeah.
have just said he's in the like 1L hell from Asgard
Sure.
dimension. He could
AGL.
be in yeah, I said the 1L.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
He could be in Mephisto's dimension. Which,
Yep.
what's his one called?
Hell.
No,
It's also called hell. They're all hell.
Hell number
It
one,
has a
hell
different
number two.
name.
they all have a bunch of different
But either way,
names.
like
Yeah.
it could be any number of
It's-
places.
It's an interdimensional
he
thing
could-
that they leave intentionally.
Look,
vague.
with that blurry portal that he went through, it could have been Mordor. I don't
Actually,
know.
it looked like Oregon. It really did. I'm just saying. It had like a little pine tree.
Listen,
He's just like up in the Rockies.
The beautiful
like, chilling.
Cascade Mountains of Oregon are a great place to put a Darkhold. You can go camping
mean-
there. It's great. Go visit Portland.
I mean, yeah, up in like Washington State in the mountains,
sure,
like that's where he could
Olympia,
have been.
very
Oh,
nice
that would have
area.
been lovely.
I think
Could be the Ozarks, which is hell. Like I can understand. I don't know.
could very well be the Ozarks. Who knows?
well, he got the Darkhold was taken. We saw where it was taken from in the Doctor Strange movie. So you'd think
In theory, that's a theory.
That's,
yeah.
we don't know for sure because again, at the beginning of this season, we found it in a basement
Yeah.
somewhere.
There was a on the
missing book.
chain on the wall of chained books in Wong's library. There was one book that was missing, even though theoretically no book should have been taken from there.
Well, that's because
believe
they
that's
are
the
terrible
Darkhold.
librarians that
Yeah.
allow people to.
good
anyway, that's
magicians
neither
and
here nor
bad librarians.
there. Absolutely terrible.
I didn't think the explanation was good enough for me.
It
It
didn't
could have
cut it
been
for you?
much more grandiose. It could have been something even as beautiful as like this was going to threaten the actual fabric of his existence, and it woke the Ghost Rider spirit or something, right?
Or Mephisto,
Exactly.
knew that he had to do it because she was gonna wreck the both realms or something.
Well-
Or they needed the Darkhold back because he was jealous or something.
Or like
Not-
something with an artificial soul would be like the antithesis of what Mephisto stands for. So like
Yeah.
he would send the rider in to stop something with an artificial
Something
soul.
like that.
Yeah.
But the reason they gave was just it
hole
opened up a hole when she got
But
made.
they leave a lot of things intentionally vague, mainly the place where Robbie was all this time. But another kind of thing that they just kind of leave very much open-ended is what Coulson gave in exchange for the writer doing them a favor.
Which I understood that, because that's saying, hey, next season, hopefully we're addressing this. Coulson says, I'm eventually going to tell the team, all that kind of stuff. So that's like a cliffhanger. But this is like the pillar of why this
is filling in.
Episode starts, and it's just like, even though I guess it was good enough, it just wasn't good enough for an entire season of everything that happened. And then it's just like this simple explanation of two written lines in the script. This is what's going to be
Like,
the reason why he came back.
I mean,
That said-
it's a little flimsy. Like the equivalent could have been just like, I need to go on a road trip and I'll come back when I found myself, and then he comes back.
This all said though, the opening fight sequence
So fun.
between Ghost Rider and Ada was with like the bunch of with the LMDs that might be MODOK fighting him. That was so cool.
I was like, oh, here's the budget. Here's the budget.
Yes.
Like that chain action, they got real flamboyant with the chain.
I have
This is
very
why
happy.
Ghost Rider had to go away for a while.
Yeah.
Because oh my
Because
god,
of
like the
money.
moves that he has with the chain and the fire and brimstone that he brings. I
Well-
loved her reaction when his skull lit on fire for
Well,
the first
yes,
time.
Yeah.
because again, all of the emotions that she's feeling are overwhelming. And the last time she saw Ghost Rider, she was a robot. She was a robot, had no concept of fear or dread. To go from that to being a person, and in a very short amount of time, and seeing a flaming skull
Yeah, sure.
gunning for you with a chain that is on fire, I'm pretty sure, again, she's gained a fear of death and an understanding of her own mortality. But man, is that a lot to take in just for a regular person, let alone somebody who's just getting used to emotions.
Well, yeah, and she's indestructible, or at least she thinks she is, until she gets burned, and then she's like, oh wait,
Oh shoot.
this is what
He
this
just,
feels like.
not only does he look scary, he is actually
Yeah.
threatening to me.
But-
That's a bad combination.
In contrast, as amazing as that opening fight sequence was, the ending fight sequence, the bookend, was very anticlimactic between Ophelia and the Ghost Rider.
I feel like we make up for that because we've got a very as cool as it was, the opening scene with the two of them was very short, and then the ending, I feel like the cool OMG moment is when Coulson is revealed to have the Ghost Rider.
Sure,
Yeah.
but there
And
could have
then
been
the
more of
actual
a
fight
fight, and I wanted to see her
is
12 powers.
especially because of the buildup of her having all of those Inhuman powers. I feel like the fight that we get in the middle between the LMDs, including Robo Superior, Robbie Reyes, and
MODOK.
Daisy working in tandem, absolutely. Yes, freaking MODOK.
Well,
Because
He's
we
not confirmed as MODOK, but it's like
well,
Well, we don't know what happened to his head at the end of this episode. He's
it grew tiny little arms and tiny little legs and floating
and
around.
He's floating around, plotting his scheme.
well, the splash page of the rider lifting up the superior in the air, and Daisy then shooting it with her powers, and it just disintegrating.
Oh,
was so good.
They're
like,
an
this is-
amazing team.
This
Oh my
is one of
God.
those moments when you just as a comics fan have to
Yeah.
stop and go that just happened.
Yep.
Go back 20 years and tell somebody, yeah, you're going to get Ghost Rider on television fighting a bunch of LMDs with Quake, and they're just gonna destroy this stuff, and it's gonna look great. It's not gonna be like
It's not gonna look cheesy. It's
You know
not gonna look.
you know the girl from Secret Wars? She's gonna be a main character in a TV show.
Oh,
Secret
man.
Warriors.
Or also Secret Wars.
Heck,
Well,
if, you,
yeah.
if you guys had said this when
All the-
Agents of
they're all
S.H.I.E.L.D.
over my
started,
head.
I don't think I would have
If
believed
you had a conversation with me and we're like 20 years ago, hey, you're going to be on a panel with a bunch of comic nerds and you're just going to be there in a bathrobe, I would have been like, you're crazy. So I completely understand what we're discussing right now.
If you told me 20 years ago you're gonna be on a panel like yelling about like a nerdy TV show, I'd be like, yeah, probably.
All right, see? It's just hell is relative.
If you had gone back 20 years and told me I was going to be doing any sort of show in front of people, I would have run into my room and cried because
Hilarious.
I had terrible stage fright. Oh, man.
I don't know what I would have done, but I probably would have made fun of you.
But, okay,
yeah.
so...
The hashtag Ghostquake or Firequake.
Well, I like 'em all.
Well, yeah,
it
because
comes
those
to-
two, listen,
They are
Can we talk about the
amazing.
sexual tension?
Daisy and Robbie. First of all,
How do you
as-
feel about it? Again, since Robbie
That-
very much had a hand in destroying
That
Ada.
look, though, as he's going through the portal.
I
that
love
look,
it.
that was
Those-
the look.
that was the look.
And I appreciate the love aspect of the show, and I want Robbie and Daisy to be together. If you notice, I call her Daisy now.
Who doesn't?
Now that I'm over her
doesn't want
completely,
them to be
and they
together?
killed the love of my life, but but that's like we haven't seen Daisy in love for a minute. We've never seen Robbie in love, like for real.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting combination. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
They get
I'm
each
not
other.
a fan.
They get each other.
I'm not a fan of Yo-Yo and Mac. I don't care. I want to be. I want to be. Ever since Puff and J-Lo, I love the match. But I'm not a fan of Yo-Yo and Mac. I don't know why. I'm not enamored by
Daisy and
Daisy and Robbie. I would be.
You can get.
I would get behind that. I can understand
Ghostquake,
that.
like, look, guys, girls, like, it's hard sometimes to know, like, is that the look? Like, is that
It was
is
the
this
look. No,
That
it's
was
the
the
look.
look.
There's a look.
Like, these two understand each other in a deep way because they both had like very dark paths that their lives have gone down, but they are both trying to fight for. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, they are both fighting for family, and I want to see them spend more time together
Absolutely.
because they just the dynamic
They have great
between
chemistry, too.
between the actors
Yeah.
is phenomenal,
It's very
and I
good.
think that like the characters fit well together, and the actors clearly play off of each other very well. Gabriel Luna and Chloe Bennett they must get along on set at the very least because they're doing great
Or
work
they're
on
just
it.
actors. So, I mean, it's just
That's true.
interesting when it comes to things like that. I've seen behind the scenes a lot, and you would be
fair.
surprised. You would be very
Yeah.
that's
surprised.
fair.
That's
who
fair.
gets along and who doesn't.
Yeah.
I just enjoy the dynamic between the two, plus the characters. And even though you made them sound like they're the same, I see them as very different. To me, even though Quake
Well,
is
they're
such
similar.
a badass on the outside, she's actually a softie on the inside. And with Robbie, he's actually like a softie on the outside sometimes, but he's a badass on the inside. To me, they're yin and yang match. I feel like Daisy's innocence is what Robbie likes, and then Robbie being a like bad kind of like is what Daisy likes. I really feel
Robbie
Well,
literally has a bad boy
yeah,
on the
'cause-
inside.
I mean, the look-
Robbie is the responsible older brother doing everything he can to take care of his younger
Yeah,
brother,
sweet.
who has this literal inner darkness, this inner demon.
I mean, just the look he gives her after he makes a portal, and he's just like,
Which
and then
I
he
can do
walks
that.
through it.
You know what else I can do that too?
I like it because
Wait, what?
even though I totally read into it as shipping. I've been shipping it since the start of this season.
It's a ghost ship.
I'll allow it.
That one place.
well played. sir.
That's fair. That's fair. Even though I'm all about that ship, I also like it because it can also be interpreted as just two people who have mutual respect for one another. Parting ways. It could very well just be a platonic mutual thing.
No. Listen,
I'm
I've been
shipping it.
friend
I'm
zoned in
shipping
life.
it.
I've been friend zoned. That was not friend
He's
zone
the
life.
one walking away in
Yeah,
this
but
scenario.
that wasn't friend zone. Her look was like
He was walking away because he has responsibilities
Yeah.
that
He
have
got-
to come
I'll call you.
first. He has world-saving
not like he's-
responsibilities.
He's not going to the strip club. He's going to save the world.
If that's what it was on the other side of that portal, that would be amazing.
Where no one will think to look for it. and
He
it's a
walks
strip
into
club.
like a weird hellish version of Guardians of the Galaxy on the other side.
KOD.
Speaking of, guys, he can do the sling ring now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing.
The sling chain.
Which
Yeah.
is interesting because it's like, couldn't he have? I mean, he might have been able to use that to just get out of the hell dimension anyway, but maybe it doesn't
I
work
mean, we
that
don't
way.
know how the properties work in
Yeah,
that hell dimension.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna make assumptions, but yeah, he can do the sling ring now, which it's still so cool to see.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange magic being incorporated in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is there anything else we want to talk about with Robbie Reyes before we move on? Because we got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
Just gratuitous, and I love the gratuitous, like slow motion face changing, like with all of it. Like
Every
the
time.
Coulson change was amazing. Like all of it was fantastic.
Yeah. Are we also including the Robbie Reyes talk with the transfer of Coulson and the fact that we hope that Ghost Rider gets his own show?
Absolutely, I would watch the hell out
Because
of
I
that
feel
show.
like
No
they've
pun
been setting
intended.
that up in some ways, and I'm hoping they are. If
be
nothing else, he'll
fantastic.
hopefully he gets one of those yo-yo shorts.
Absolutely. Transmedia guys, if you guys wanted to give us a mini series about Robbie.
that is those shows do
No.
anything on the web does not have the budget for Ghost Rider.
No,
TV
but-
barely had the budget for Ghost Rider. Let's be clear.
by the
I'm just
web, by
saying-
the web, you mean that? But
Anyone
there
who wants
were-
to give me more Ghost Rider, I will take it.
There were rumors when he first showed up. I remember we covered it. There were rumors that people were very excited about Ghost Rider and were thinking about a possible Netflix series, which does have budget.
Yes,
Which-
a full series would have budget. I don't. When I say
Still-
web, I don't mean Netflix.
Still no news on
Netflix
that,
is a
though.
network.
No news on it. But
Yeah,
I'm
well,
thinking.
the news is that ABC has announced their slate for the 2017-2018 season, and Ghost Rider was not on there.
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on there,
Yeah, it
but
was.
Ghost Rider was not.
And
So at least between now and next May, it's not happening.
gonna be May.
My thing is this with the Ghost Rider: if there is a series that comes on, and even if it's on the web, it doesn't necessarily have to have a lot of special effects or anything. That only counts if we actually see Ghost Rider. But I would love to know more about Robbie Reyes and his personal demons.
absolutely.
And I would
Yeah.
watch a show where it's actually just him, even speaking in a dark room to something we don't see, having a conversation or something. I mean, he's just a very interesting
Yeah.
character, and the way he's portrayed is excellent. It's ominous, it's dark, but with a glimmer of hope. You see the struggle, the tension in the inner spirit of the character itself, and I actually think it's done really well. I like Robbie Reyes more than I like when Ghost Rider comes to be, with especially. I mean,
It's
I just
true.
like him.
I do
I like him.
I agree. I think some of the most some of the most interesting parts of especially Robbie Reyes' Ghost Rider's story is the Robbie Reyes, is the low tech
Yeah,
version.
absolutely.
But especially where he is now, there needs to be a budget
Yeah.
involved because we
Yeah.
have to continue with this continuity, not just start fresh.
and not to mention that he has to hold up his end of the bargain that he made to the writer to get him out of Mac back then. The lore seeker on Twitter points out, like Robbie said, in Hell, the writer is driving the body, so maybe the writer wanted to stay, and Robbie was the one that had to make a conscious decision to leave.
Well, speaking of deals,
Yes.
can we talk about Coulson and
yes.
so
there's clearly some sort of exchange went
what we
on.
have set up in the rules of the Ghost Rider in this show, in this in the MCU, is that the Spirit of Vengeance can jump bodies sort of at will, but it needs to be to somebody who who has a vengeful vendetta
Unfinished
inside them, like
business.
unfinished
Yeah.
business, something that they need to avenge, and that person needs to strike a deal.
Yeah.
yeah.
So Coulson struck a deal,
And we don't know
and
what
he
he
has
gave
some
up.
kind of just fury, not that kind of fury, but some kind of like
Maybe
anger.
that kind of fury.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
but bubbling down under his surface.
Well, again, he's probably still reeling from Roz. You know, that's probably still a hurt that
Coulson's-
will never go away. But, I mean, at this point in time, Ada has killed a lot of people.
Coulson's a super spy. I'm sure he's got tons of
Yeah,
darkness
there's lots,
inside of him.
lots of things he can
Yeah.
pull from. Speaking of Coulson, we should probably talk about May and Coulson.
Maybe
because-
that's
So
where
wait,
it comes
hold on,
from.
but-
He's like mad about that.
But I want to know what your guys' theories on like what, because
What-
they
what
keep
was the
talking
deal
about it
he
at the
made?
end, like
I
what
don't
was the-
envy you.
Yeah, I don't envy you. Like, what deal did he strike for to have temporary? Like, he basically only had the rider in him temporarily.
know.
So, what deal would,
I don't
would he
know
have struck?
what
I'm gonna go with,
Coulson
like,
could give.
I'm gonna go with a classic like Robert Johnson style deal where he went up to the crossroads and he gave the demon his soul. Basically, when he's done with it, the spirit of vengeance gets his soul.
I think I know what it is.
Nope.
You know how we have the Hell Charger here?
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh, you
think
think it's-
Ghost Rider wants to take a spin in Lola and turn Lola into the new Hell
That
Charger
was,
for
that
a
was
little
a
while.
mic drop moment for you.
That'd
Yes,
be amazing.
yes, it was. I threw my pen down.
What
I
would
threw my
Lola's
pen.
name be if it was a hell charger?
Oh man.
Well, I actually feel like Lola is
hot
super
rod?
appropriate because of Damn Yankees.
That's true. Yeah, because of damn Yankees. Whatever Lola wants, she gets.
I would think it would be Christine.
Christine,
Ah,
you
there
guys
go.
get-
an evil
if you-
car.
Yeah.
If you guys, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
a
know.
Stephen King
I think
joke.
that
Yeah.
I think that Coulson has a deep dark secret that we don't know about, but I think
Sure.
it involves the Darkhold.
Well, it's entirely possible that S.H.I.E.L.D. also has lots in its inventory
Sure.
that he could have offered to Ghost Rider as incentive for, because the spirit of vengeance, that's his whole shtick, is getting vengeance on all of the people who deserve it, I guess. It's kind of hard to tell with this iteration of it.
Maybe he gave it Gravitron.
You know what? That would have been nice to
Graviton,
know.
sorry.
That would have been nice to know because we were promised some
right.
Graviton action in
So
this
I
season.
went back in and I went and found the Jed Whedon interview, because if you remember, before this third part of the season started, Jed Whedon gave an interview in which he said, referring to the discovery of gravitonium and Dr. Franklin Hall from first season,
Yep.
which we have loudly talked about many times on this show.
Mm-hmm.
The quote says, "We would not be doing our jobs as well as we could if we left that unanswered."
So I guess they did do their jobs as well as they could. That's just it.
Well,
He
it's
set
a
a bar.
question of
whether or
whether or
it's
not
gonna
they
get
knew they were
payoff.
getting
Yeah.
season 5. So like basically he's saying that they're eventually going to pay it off, but we don't we gotta wait at least another year.
question
I guess.
for you, comic book wise.
Jed.
Graviton in space.
No.
Okay.
I can't think
I
of
love
any
how
time
you
it
just shot
happened.
it down. Just no.
I can't think of any time it happened.
I don't think there's a precedence for it, but it could. So okay. So the end of this show. Can we just
Let's
include
fast
that in this
forward
current
and
conversation?
let's fast forward and we'll rewind after iTunes.
All right, let me get my sword.
So yes,
Sword.
at the end of this episode,
Sword.
we're at that same diner of all places
Yeah.
when a shadowy organization that we think are the U.S. government come in. They apprehend everyone with some kind of heretofore unseen technology, and then the next thing we get is Coulson looking out the window in space and going, okay, time to get back to work. No more sightseeing. What?
Sword.
It's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's gonna be Agents of Sword.
People have been clamoring for swords since season 1. I remember just starting this show and looking at the comments and people going, sword, sword, sword. We can get sword.
I will freak out if we get Abigail Brand in the show. I don't know if she's an X-Men property because
There's
she
been-
she dated Beast for a long time.
It was.
And she- I
this
think
has
who
been
did it?
discussed a bunch of times. I feel like after this was discussed on Marvel Movie News, we landed on that she is available for the MCU.
Now,
Okay.
now for for
I will freak
everybody,
out.
But that's not
for
100%.
all
like,
of
'cause
our
it's
listeners
speculation.
who have not heard of S.H.I.E.L.D., would you gentlemen be so kind as to explain
Yeah.
the organization
Jesse,
known
take
as
it.
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
So
Thanks,
Shield,
guys.
yeah.
For all of your listeners and panel,
So Shield is meant for Earth threats, domestic threats on Earth. Sword is meant for threats that are from out of Earth and meant to prevent them from ever reaching Earth.
Which,
So-
after the Chitauri invasion, you would think
would
would
make
be a
sense.
top priority.
They would want to do it. Abigail Brand is the director of Sword. She has green hair. She's called Brand because her hand lights on green fire.
yes, it does.
And
I know who she is.
yeah, and she doesn't find humans attractive. She's only attracted to aliens, or alien-like looking things like Beast. Yeah, and she's very charismatic and good at her job, and it would be great to see Shield go to space.
What does SWORD stand for?
Boy, something.
If you ask me what S.H.I.E.L.D. stood for right now, I was like,
Strategic
Homeland,
So
something,
intervention.
strategic world.
I'm just saying.
I got a computer in front of
and
me, guys.
defense,
Yeah.
logistics, and defense. I
And
think.
defense.
Anyway, guys, we still have a lot of ground to cover, and definitely a lot more to talk
What does
about
SWORD
with
stand for?
Sword.
And
You know?
also, I'm like finding what it stands for. I'm trying to stall for time.
I will say this: that the technology that they used remind me of the Men in Black.
It was very Men in
the
Black.
flashy thing where they use it. It like emitted a sound.
Like, as soon as they carted everybody out,
Yeah.
you kind of expect them to use the
there it is.
neuralizer
Yeah.
to be like, okay, everybody, they weren't actually here.
Yeah.
It's the Sentient World Observation and Response Department.
Ah, they
Duh.
tried too hard.
Duh.
Do you think they come up with the name for the organization and then work backwards?
Well,
I mean, I
think
believe
Sword and
I
Shield.
believe the quote from the MCU is, "It sounds like somebody really wanted their initials to
initials to
spell
spell
shield."
shield.
Yeah. Sword, shield, and a
Was
hammer.
that a Ward line from season 1? I don't
Yes,
know.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh man, good callback. Okay, so guys, before we move on with the rest of this episode, I want to talk to you guys really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you. We love that we have an international audience. That still blows my mind. And it is the best way to let our producers know that you guys like the show that we're putting on here. It keeps the lights on, it keeps us at these desks, and it's what allows us to sit here and geek out about one of the coolest shows on TV, for an hour and some change every week. And if you guys do leave a comment, we might even give you a shout out on the show, like these fine folks.
Yeah. Thank you for writing in, guys, all season. So tonight I want to shout out JJ Whitney, Prodigal 358, always leaving us awesome
Oh, yeah.
reviews. Silver Fox,
Ooh.
Carmen F111, and Anakin J.K. Gatsby. Thank you so much, Jesse. You missed it. We got the Phil Coulson's left hand was here last
Returned
week.
last
nice.
time. It was kind of amazing.
When you were gone. Interesting.
What an interesting
Interesting.
observation.
But yeah, thank you guys
Yes.
for.
You guys are the reason we met our goal that we will be doing the fan fiction theater for you again another time.
Yeah, well, sometime within the next week or so.
Because you guys are the best and we love you. And again, the support that you guys have given us over the last 4 years has been incredible.
And thank you everyone who's joining us live in the chat.
Yeah.
It's been a treat to see you guys joining us more and more every week, especially this late at night.
Yeah, you guys
like
are
some people are
incredible.
asking, like they're pointing out like Captain Marvel works with Sword. So there's a big possibility there.
That'd be great.
There are a
Victor
lot of
Tang
potential
is
connections.
hoping to see Hammer,
Yeah.
which is possible. But then like the Hammer storyline is super tied in with the Secret Warriors, but also with like some big name
I still
characters.
remember us talking about theories with Victoria Hand regarding Hammer, and then that never went anywhere because she died.
I mean, we saw some Hammer Tech and Luke Cage.
Well, there's Hammer Tech and then
Yeah.
there's Hammer.
Yes.
Which is different.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm thinking that it would be easy to connect Justin Hammer.
That's fair. And
And
I
make
I
him-
feel like that might be more confusing to most people.
Yeah,
than-
exactly.
Long story short,
and to-
though. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and one more acronym to clarify. Justice TV asks, whatever happened to AIM. AIM was only ever in Iron Man 2 and then ignored after that because
It came and went.
Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Hammer was in Iron Man.
Yes. Hammer.
Hammer
Justin
Tech,
Hammer.
as in Justin Hammer, was in
Yeah,
Iron Man,
so-
but Hammer, the acronym organization, was a government.
Norman Osborn
Yeah.
took over
Exactly,
as
it's
the director
different,
of
right?
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
Yes.
and turned it into Hammer.
Was that before or after he became the Iron Patriot?
That was during.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
when.
Yeah.
Either way, again,
Those comic
long story
books.
short, thank you guys so much for your support. You're the best.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what you guys all have to say about next season 2. That's going to be so much fun. Okay. So to get back, guys, kind of go from bigger overarching stuff to interpersonal stuff. I wanted to talk about Megan Coulson, darn it. Like, is this relationship ever going to get off the ground? They finally get to talking about why he drank that bottle, and they kind of dance around the issue a bit, but the long and short of it is that they were both like, maybe there's something, but now's not a
We
good
might
time.
need another bottle
Yeah.
to talk about why I drank that bottle.
Well, I mean, we saw Coulson. He's off the ground. He's in space. We can assume that May is there too. Maybe it's a space romance.
Ooh,
Yeah.
across the universe.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's what we need in space now. White guy, Asian girl. All right, let's.
I think just a space romance. Yeah, I mean, they had that conversation and they did the thing
Been done.
that they've done a bunch of times before, where it's like, look, I want to talk about this because I feel like there's something going on, and like, yeah, I agree, there is something going on. We should talk about this. But then, being the top spies in the world got in the way.
As it always does.
Or is it more like, I really want to talk about this. We should totally talk about this. Yeah. I got a thing. There's a killer
Spain.
robot.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're bringing me up to space. We'll get
This
to
is the
it.
thing.
We'll
Yeah.
get to it.
It's because
Slide.
once you kiss, you can't unkiss. So it's not just, hey, I have
famous
feelings
lyric.
for you, and I have feelings for you. We should make it work. What it really comes down to is, once they do this, they can't go back from it. And how does
Sure.
it affect? I don't know, things like saving the world. How do you? I mean,
Yeah.
it really plays a part. It's
If you're-
complicated.
Yeah, if you're the
And-
director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you're dating the cavalry, do you feel as comfortable sending her in?
Exactly.
And
if you're
here's the
dating
other
her,
thing
yeah.
is that they've both mixed business and pleasure before. May with Ward and Coulson with Roz, and it's had disastrous results every single time.
Yep.
And not only does like getting involved with each other create a potential issue in that way, but if it doesn't go well, it could also just ruin their friendship.
100%.
And as two seasoned spies who've seen a lot of friends die, friends are hard to come by.
Sure.
So I definitely understand. But you know what other couple seems to be going through some stuff? Definitely Fitz and Gemma. They have quite a few things to work through, especially since Ada just happens to have the ability to pop up in mid-conversation whenever she wants.
Well, Fitz kind of reveals that he was the Dr. Mangala of that universe, that he was
Yeah.
torturing and killing the Inhumans and taking their powers, at least 12 of them.
Including people that they knew.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
Lincoln.
He killed
He
Lincoln!
tortured and murdered Lincoln, and so he can now that he knows Lincoln was his friend, he has awoken with memories of torturing his friend.
Not
Yeah.
only his friend who died for them.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Someone wrote me in one of the comments, explained to me that, sure, Fritz inside the framework was like this, but Fitz showed his true colors because he made an active decision and felt remorse and guilt for his actions inside the framework. If it was something where he truly felt like it was a bigger part of him than it was, then he wouldn't have felt bad. He wouldn't have felt bad. He wouldn't have said the things he said. He wouldn't have made the decisions that he made. Even given the fact that he was in the chamber with Ophelia, he didn't know Gemma was watching.
No.
And yet he still said, no, it's Gemma. And so as much as they have to work out, I think that the foundation of a true good Fitz exists, and Gemma needs to kind of get over it.
Well, no,
And I didn't feel that way
like-
last week.
actually
And someone
think-
actually explained. I was like, yo, that's a great.
I actually think the issue is more on Fitz's side than it is on Gemma's.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, she's happy to jump in and say
Gemma's-
you're a good man.
No. I saw a passive aggressive Gemma today when he was like, "This is all your fault."
Yeah,
That
but that
was
was the
an
LMD.
It doesn't matter. The LMD came from a programming from something,
No.
and that was a passive aggressive.
I
Like,
think
it
that
was
was.
all your
I
fault.
think that was meant. I think that was meant a program. That's when I wrote down she's an LMD because I think that was specifically a program meant to make Ada feel like she's hurting
Although,
Fitz as much as
soon
possible.
as we find out she's an LMD, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's why he was so calm.
Yeah,
I
like
feel like
I think
Yeah.
it was 100% like this is a program that'll make Ada feel like she's hurting Fitz as much as possible.
I don't know. I felt that really came from a real place. Like
I
that
don't
was
feel
the
like
be-
people should
only
be
word
held
she said.
accountable for what their LMDs do.
Or
See Exhibit A with Daisy.
I don't know, because Fitz is holding himself accountable for what his framework self did, which is very similar to having an LMD because it's not the real him. It's not in the real world. It's under different
I
circumstances.
feel like it's a little
But the
different.
LMDs, okay. Oh man, this is so
Even
much
May and
stuff.
Coulson, like that spark was some. It's not like the LMD had no idea.
That's-
It came from something
But
and manipulated
May
it.
LMD
and
was
it
a little
real.
different than
But
all
LMD,
the other
but
LMDs.
LMD May was different, but also different than actual May as well.
Yeah.
She acted differently. She had different independent thoughts. Fits in the framework. If you are the real person who's in the framework, that is you having those thoughts and doing those things. And unless you are programmed otherwise, you're not. But an LMD can be programmed to do whatever you want them to do,
Yeah. I
can
or
underst-
act however you want them to do.
I could understand that if I hadn't seen Mac be such a bitch in the framework, and he's
Which
never a bitch.
we
So I was
haven't even,
like, ah.
we haven't even touched
know.
on the framework side of things yet.
Sure.
Guys, this is a horror movie because the world is coming to an end. People are disappearing. Places and things are disappearing.
I will say that Daisy's way of telling Radcliffe that Yo-Yo was in the framework by just filling his pockets randomly with yo-yos is such an amazingly funny move. And it reminded me of The Matrix a lot, where they can just like program little things in.
Oh, deja vu.
But just the idea that like Radcliffe's
Just
walking around,
pockets of
reaches in his
yo-yos.
pocket, and there's just yo-yos.
And he's
under-
like, "This is what the," and he throws them away and reaches.
Why
There's
are there
more
so
stuff.
many yo-yos? Oh, yo-yo. Oh.
yeah.
Which I wanted to get your guys' take on the way that this was executed, because Mac, instead of owning up to the reality of my daughter's not real and I live another life and I need to leave this world because it's crashing down around me, especially because this person has come to save me, instead clings tighter and tighter to hope and to his daughter, and he's basically fully accepted the reality that like he'd be more than willing to die than part with her.
Which is weird because I thought that made a lot of sense for his character. I thought all of that made a lot of sense. We had talked about it before. He's making his character would act this way, I believe. I think it's the wrong decision, but I think that's his character would act that way.
We still
But-
see the heartbreak when hope disappears
Yes,
from his hands. and
except
that,
when we see him in the real world, he seemed
Fine.
fine. Like
He's
he
like,
seemed
"Hey,
he was like, listen, I
did
believe
some more checks,
He was like,
yeah.
I believe that happened and those experiences were real to me, but that's fine. Like he did not seem like a guy
He
who just
unbitched real
lost his
quick,
daughter. Yeah.
It's that moment of like when they come back and like he has all of his memories.
Yeah.
Back, like he immediately, like, it's one thing to hear that like this isn't real
For sure.
and like be like, oh, if I go to that side, like my life will come back. But like he never got, like Coulson got pieces of his memories back, like you can remember Daisy, but Mac never had that. He
For
was
sure.
so clinging to the framework reality that I think it was tough until that moment when he broke
Came
through. All of his memories came back, and
Well, and
like,
he also woke
yeah.
up surrounded by people who loved him. Like, and that's who were aware of the situation. When everybody
sure.
else woke up from the framework, they were all like, whoa. They were kind of all disoriented and they were all in a very dangerous situation. Mac is the only one that woke up surrounded by friendly, safe, welcoming faces.
I'm gonna argue with me 2 weeks ago and agree with Tehran though. Like to him, he just lost his daughter still. Like, and he did not act like a guy who had just lost his daughter.
Well, something we know about Mac prior to framework stuff is
Yeah.
that he's a guy that's internalized all of his pain.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there could have been a moment.
There could have been a little bit
like,
more.
I'm not saying he should have. He should have like had a tear or something. Even a
did
thug
have
would
the
have.
one,
Even
yeah.
Tupac cried. Like, come on.
Oh,
Like he
fuck,
could have.
famously cried.
Could
I
have.
think the idea, and granted, I agree with you guys. I feel
Yeah.
like there should have been a little bit more heartbreak or a little bit more angst when he came out of the framework.
Sure.
But I feel like the thought process behind this episode was that the moment that Hope disappeared was meant to be the emotional gut punch.
Sure.
And that after that we needed kind of a moment of
They needed
levity.
denouement.
And
I
that-
also feel like a lot was probably left on the cutting room floor for this episode, because I noticed one or two scenes where, like, the intro to those scenes, I was like, that seems abrupt.
To add to what's going on in the framework, Radcliffe has been one of my favorite characters that they've added, and they gave him such a beautiful going away. I loved it. I mean,
Very cinematic.
I hated that he was leaving, but it was such a good testament to his character and a good, like, just like great storytelling. The sound ended, like everything went quiet, and the cup drops. It was amazing. That was really good
Yeah.
storytelling.
Like the Hope and like disappearance was intense.
Yeah.
But like the Radcliffe, like that moment was just beautiful.
It
Yeah.
was.
Every piece of it, like you know about like that like moment where like the end is coming and you think like are just gonna have a drink at the beach, he's gonna watch the sunset, and like it just like he didn't get to take that sip and he
Or
just
finish the quote.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the abruptness of which he was going.
yeah.
Like he snapped out of existence, and I love that like he didn't just vanish in front of us. Like we just saw the glass fall.
The only thing that would have made it better is if a couple beats later, the bottle and the glass also disappear. Because everything
got
is
to take it with
unraveling.
him.
Yeah.
I think the sound, like I liked seeing them just sitting there, and
I
then
liked
like,
it too, yeah.
And the sound kicking out was like
It was great.
audio in the framework just clicked, like that switch
I
got
just
turned
feel
off.
so bad for him, because this is the second show I've seen recently where a character just wanted to take one drink before they left this mortal coil, and they don't get to, neither one of them got to do it, and so I felt really bad for poor Radcliffe in this moment. And again, it was a beautiful goodbye.
It was fantastic.
Plus, that looked like really good scotch and
Yeah.
just spilled
It did.
all over in the sand.
Fantastic.
Really good.
Okay. Guys, I feel like we've actually hit quite a few. I think the only other thing we kind of need to bring up is that the fate of the Superior is kind of left unknown.
Yeah.
After this fight.
And the fate of
MODOK's out there.
And the fate of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, where there's
yeah,
now
we
a
forgot to talk
video.
about Talbot getting shot
Yeah,
in the head.
There's now
He's
a video-
alive, whatever.
Yeah, Talbot got
Somehow.
hit right here, and he's still breathing.
Test Talbot for
stubborn guy.
Inhuman powers, everyone. I'm just saying, he got shot in the forehead.
Or he was a secret alien this entire time.
Ooh.
And that's who brings them up to space.
Oh.
Yeah. But also there is now a video of the terrorist Daisy Johnson, who had been
The
protected.
Inhuman terrorist.
Who had
Such a roller coaster with her,
Who had
right?
been protected by S.H.I.E.L.D.
Sheesh.
Who'd been protected by S.H.I.E.L.D. walking into a government building and
We
shooting
don't know that
General
it's been
Talbot in the head.
released.
We don't know, but I mean,
But it exists.
we know it exists.
But a lot of other things have been released that we didn't think would, like the fact that
Like
Homeboy
Mace's
wasn't
autopsy,
in
yeah.
yeah.
And that
Like, they
woman
just
who was
releasing stuff.
that woman who was there was like, arrest S.H.I.E.L.D. Like they're the ones who did this. Whoever that second in command to Talbot was.
Yeah, because like we forget, and they did touch on it in this episode. We forget like this show has gone crazy
So
bananas.
far bananas.
so that
but-
like Talbot can't keep up when Coulson is like, I have a prosthetic robot hand, I've seen demons, and I've been to outer space. This is par for the course.
I have a
Yeah.
question. Inhumans, the show Inhumans, which is coming on, and it's going to be on that Friday slot, and then I guess Marvel's taking its place
Yeah.
after.
So should we do some news and
Is
gossip?
Inhumans in space?
no.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
let's,
yes and
let's
no.
go
So
ahead and
when you
and-
say Talbot is an alien, is he one of the aliens? What is Skrulls? Skrulls?
Skrull.
A scroll
He's
or a
definitely
Kree.
not a Skrull
Or a
because
Kree.
we can't use the Skrulls.
We can use the
in-
scrolls. We can't
It's-
use the super scroll or the
It's
power
super
scroll.
complicated, and I doubt Marvel's gonna burn it
Which one
on
shape-
Shield.
Changes. One of
The
them
scroll.
The Skrull.
But we've
Yeah,
seen
Kree-
But we've seen Kree with like cloaking devices and like
And
dressed like
also
humans.
Coulson and
So-
Daisy have like Kree blood injected into
That's
them.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility that Talbot is a Kree?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I think it would be absolutely hysterical if it turned out all this time for all of his complaining and blustering about how larger than life and weird S.H.I.E.L.D. is. I think it'd be hilarious if Talbot turned out to be an alien.
He's just blue Talbot.
Oh, that would be freaking hysterical. I don't think that's the case, but I am willing to buy into the idea that he is more than human. That would explain how getting shot in the head by an unfeeling robot.
Let's just call him a Kree.
And I would watch
Call him-
more Adrian Pasdar. Like,
Absolutely.
he's great.
Well, maybe.
We've
well,
definitely seen
And
him in a
have
show
Persian.
with
And have
superpowers
Persian.
before.
With
So-
so little time, can we do some quick news and gossip? Because
Yes.
there was a bunch this week.
Let's go ahead and talk some news and gossip because, guys, we have fantastic news that we've kind of already touched on. So, obviously, S.H.I.E.L.D. renewed for season 5, basically the day after our after show last week. So we were like, woo, this
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah, but it gets more and more complicated from there. So here's what's happening with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was renewed. It was officially renewed for season 5 this week
Yes.
at the ABC upfronts. However, it is now no longer going to be on Tuesday nights, and like it takes some digging because like their fall schedule is talking about the fall, and so in September, Inhumans, which is talking about the royal family. Not the Inhumans on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We've been told that there are no crossovers between them, except maybe a vague script mentioned somewhere.
Sure.
Will be debuting on Friday nights at 9 p.m. After the IMAX premiere. It will take place, I think, a little bit on the moon in space, but the bulk of it is going to be in Hawaii.
Yeah.
What we
Which will
think of
be-
that decision, we do not have time to get into.
Nope.
Except, I'll just say 2 words that express my emotions to feeling that, and it shares a showrunner, Iron Fist. All right, moving on. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will also be moving into that Friday night at 9 o'clock time
yeah.
slot, along with Once Upon a Time, which is going to be taking, I think, the 8 p.m. slot. However, despite the later start, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to get its full 22 episode order. So we have a
Yes.
full season for season 5, and they're not, as of yet, calling it final. They're just saying season
Just
5.
saying season 5.
Yeah.
Although considering all the interesting kind of ups and downs going on at ABC networks and the fact that they're juggling multiple Marvel shows right now, that there are more Marvel shows on the way, it would not, especially after a lot of the kind of tied up storylines that we got in this season alone, we kind of thought that this was where it was going to end. So it would not surprise me if next season is the last season.
Yeah, it
Sure.
fits. It fits because of whatever crazy bending we're gonna do in
also
Infinity
Simmons.
War. They could be.
You said it fits. I said it also Simmons.
That
was funny.
The one thing I'll say is don't panic about the Friday time slot. Like, I know it's famously considered the death slot,
slot,
but
yeah.
It's
now
not as much anymore,
But these
but-
days, Friday is a place that networks are loving to put genre TV.
Yeah.
Sci-fi has taken ownership of that night. Like in the summertime, you get Killjoys, Dark Matter, and those shows are doing phenomenal. I was a Grimm fan for 6 seasons, and Friday nights was where that show shined to the point where they tried to put it on a normal primetime slot, and it did better on Friday nights. It's just going to be up to the fans to go support it and go keep watching despite the time slot.
Yeah.
Get in that within those first 24 hours because we get keep getting closer and closer to ratings being properly measured using VOD and internet-based watching and all of those things. They know that people are watching on stuff like YouTube TV and Sling and
Yeah,
Hulu
and-
Yeah.
and all these places.
And yeah,
Just
on
keep
demand
watching,
viewing.
guys.
Yeah, keep watching, keep supporting, keep tweeting, keep doing literally everything you've done up to this point to continue to support the show. And who knows, maybe we'll get a season 6. Who knows? at the very least, we'll get season 5, and we're going to space. That's just freaking cool.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I feel like now is a really
Sword.
good time to do some rapid fire predictions for season 5.
All right. We should just do it as we sign out, I guess. They're like, get out of this.
They're
Yeah,
like,
please
get
do
out of
that.
here. We've already overstayed our welcome, which
All
is
right.
why we couldn't do the fanfic theater tonight. Okay. For me, I really like the idea of going to space. I like that Robbie Reyes open-ended. Gravitonium has to make a comeback, and I love the idea of the superior being MODOK. I want it. I need it. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Robbie Reyes again. I think if we're gonna be in space, then that's too many buys. That's too many things. I think we'll get an entire at least half season in space before we come back to Earth.
Kree?
Yeah, I'm gonna predict that it's the Kree. They've messed with the Kree before. They've interacted with them. I don't know in season 2 where Lady Sif came and hunted down the Kree guy. All of that
Coulson
kind of
had
stuff.
Kree blueprints in his brain.
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. So I think they'll be doing that. If we're also doing wrapping out, I'm Jesse Klein. You can find.
I guess we're not.
Okay, then
But
they're
let's
fine.
just go quick through.
Yeah.
Tehran, any predictions for season 5?
Talbot to Kree,
Talbot's great.
Ooh, I like that.
Daisy and Robbie,
Boom, boom.
May and Phil, don't do it.
No.
Yeah.
It's real. I think they've built it up too much that it'll be anticlimactic, and they don't have the time to explore the relationship. That if it happens, even a kiss, it happens in like, it has to be like one of those we're about to die moments. It can't just happen. So
Yeah. I think Pod 1 is called Sword. I think Pod 2 is called MODOK. And then Pod 3 is
Tehran and Ophelia.
some kind of
Tehranophilia.
Oh wow, that's a great prediction, Zach.
I think Pod 3 is the return of I was gonna say Ghost Rider, but now I'm second guessing it. It's gonna be similar to this where we sort of crash them all
Shields
together.
Gravitonium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Graviton, yes.
Graviton.
Pod 3 is Graviton. All right,
If
done.
that's not
all right.
how the series
Let's wrap
ends,
this
I
out.
will be
Yeah.
Real
so
quick, when
mad.
Ophelia told Fitz, "I will kill everyone you loved," I
Guys,
love
it's
her.
the only time I've ever seen Tehran take notes. He wrote in big bold letters in his notepad, I love her, and he tweeted it out. It was amazing.
and then I got heartbroken, and then Mac is a bitch.
By
so.
the way, I know we don't really have time, but her death scene, man, it might have been a little
Brutal.
anticlimactic, but oh my gosh, just staring into Fitz's eyes, it was pretty heart-wrenching.
Hi, I'm Jesse Klein. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1. If you live in Austin or in the Austin area next Wednesday, my sketch team Haymaker will be performing at the Austin Sketch Fest. If you live in Los Angeles, my sketch team Haymaker will be performing tomorrow at the Pack Theater at 10:30. That's all my plugs.
Tehran.
At I am Tehran all across the social atmosphere. That's Facebook, Instagram, and basically who uses anything else. Also, Mondays and Thursdays, 10 p.m. at the Laugh Factory in West Hollywood, and Fridays and Saturdays, 10 p.m. at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach if I'm in town. So,
Hey guys, Zach Wilson. You can find me all over the internet at that Zach Wilson. If you're in the Los Angeles area, the first Wednesday of every month at the Pack Theater, you can see my sketch team, Turncoat. If you don't live in the Los Angeles area, if you find yourself living on the internet, maybe, tune in to twitch.tv/Geek and Sundry this Friday night. It's Geek and Sundry's Twitch channel, where my team Turncoat will be doing a guest spot on Gather Your Party. We're going to be doing a live set of sketch comedy, and you can watch it for free over on Geek and Sundry. Find it there. It's going to be a blast. It's going to get weird.
That sounds awesome. And I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for The Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Thank you guys for sticking with us tonight, and thank you for sticking with us all season long. We will see you for season 5. Woo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Fanfic you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.